Hello, welcome to the Ghana Agenda. My name is Alfred Owusu, and today we are going to be talking about something that unites us all as Ghanaians. So people say in Ghana we are divided by politics. Some are NDC, some are NPP. But when it comes to Dumsor, when it comes to our power, our lights being shut off, we are all impacted equally. So we'll be talking about that today. And I'm bringing, again, two politicians. I'm bringing De-Sosoo from the NDC. He's a spokesperson of the NDC. He resides in Massachusetts. He's actually an information systems engineer. He'll be joining us today, and we'll be digesting Dumsor. Is Dumsor back? You know, the term Dumsor, you know, if you're Ghanaian, you don't need to be reminded what Dumsor is, but it actually has made it to the dictionary to where even non-Ghanaians are now aware or know if you say Dumsor. So we'll be talking about that today. The other person who will be joining us will be Owusu. Owusu is with the MPP, and he's been one of our regular panelists. He'll be joining us today to discuss whether Dumsor is back. There are several different explanations being given. We've heard the CEO of Greatco. We have a video from him. We'll be playing that today. And we'll be digesting all that. So before I get into all the details and check in the green room to see if my guests are in, I think Paul is already there. I can see him. I want us to take a quick break and sell some Ghana Mats products. So if you haven't already done so, please visit Ghana Mats and be able to shop for your family ones and friends while you are still sitting in the comfort of your house. Go to www.ghanamat.com, www.ghanamat.com, and buy things. It could be phone cards, it could be whatever provisions that your family need in Ghana. Buy them in the comfort of your home with your credit cards, however you want to pay, whether through PayPal or what other payment applications you prefer to use, but be able to use that to make your payment, and those items will be delivered to your loved ones back home in Ghana. Please try that. I've tried it, I love it, and I'm recommending it. So GhanaMats.com is the place to go to do that. Welcome again to the Ghana Agenda. Let's take a quick commercial break, and we are talking about Ghana Mats, and we'll be back and get into the conversation.
Hey, this your girl coming all the way from the US of A, ya baby, aka ya Bantam. And me di feel a boozing pan and to see one virtue the money how Ghana Mat ada romantic. What's me sending provisions? As I such credit, Emma Ebusuya phone and the form one Ghana. And once www.ghanamat.com. And they would say, boy, a sharp connection. www.ghanamat.com. Let's try provisions in the credit. Na really zankasa. I have friend numbers na mo screen na seno. Ghana Mats ye crano.
All right, welcome back to the Ghana Agenda. Today is April 17th, and on this edition of the Ghana Agenda, we are talking about something that brings both political aisles of Ghana together. We are talking about Dumsor, which is the erratic power interruptions in Ghana. To help me do that today, I'm bringing in studio with me Paul De-Sosoo. Paul has been a regular panelist. He's a systems engineer. He's been helping us. Paul is from the NDC side of the house. So you're familiar with Paul if you know Ghana Agenda. But Paul, if there's anything I'm missing in your introduction, please help me state that. And then of course, I think I'm also getting some feedback from you. So if you can check your audio. But Paul, welcome to the Ghana Agenda, and today we are talking about Dumsor. So talk to us a little bit about you. We've missed you a couple of days, a couple of programs, and I've gotten some new viewers added to the family who may not be familiar with you. So introduce yourself, and then let's get into the discussion.
Thank you very much, Mr. Owusu. My name is Paul De-Sosoo.
Yep.
I'm a secretary for Massachusetts NDC, and I am here to speak. We do this thing for the love of Ghana, for the love of party, and to make sure that we contribute our quota, get Ghana working. That's why I'm here this afternoon, to support and join this discussion.
All right, thank you so much, Paul, and we are happy to host you again on the Ghana Agenda. And we know all the positions you bring into our discussions, and we love that. Paul, we are to be joined by Joe Owusu today. Joe hasn't joined us yet, so we'll be waiting for Joe to join. But before Joe comes in, Paul, in 2015, around 2014, 2015, we were in the middle of a big power problem. Of course, Nigeria was not providing us the gas we needed on a regular basis. There were interruptions with that flow. So we needed to actually take a second look at how we support our power generation for an economy that we thought we want to grow significantly, or the level of growth we wanted to see in Ghana. So what we did was, when we found Cape 3 Point, the offshore Cape 3 Point, when we found that when we were going to start that drilling, we decided that we were going to go into a partnership with the Sankofa Partners, which is a private partner, and they would be providing us. Did I lose Paul? Paul, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, so we've decided that we were going to go into this partnership for a deal that was going to cost $7 billion to build an infrastructure that would take our gas from Cape 3 Point to our generators, or the generating plants, which are also again mostly occupied by the PPP agreements. So we invested in that. The private partners brought the 7 billion guarantee. World Bank gave us 700 million for us to do that, and then we realized quickly that our generators, like the car power we brought in to support our erratic power situation, was located on the Eastern Bloc. But our gas finds are actually on the west. So the West Africa pipeline provided a good opportunity where we can do a reverse flow, take the gas from the west to the east. Now, that pipeline, just building that pipeline back, or to connect back from the west to the east, so we can bring our gas to the east and support the generation, and move some of the generation powers like car power to the west, because we've already invested in, if you quite recall, the John Ajakum PSO, and there was so much investment into this, to the point where we now have an agreement in place where there is a generation of 171 million standard square feet of gas on a daily basis that we are not able to use. Well, let me rephrase that. 60 metric tons is 60 million square feet are being used by standard square feet are being used by VRA, for which VRA is not paying, because VRA has its own money issues. But here is a situation where something we've started working on in 2015 till today, we still have that problem. Is the power problem a generation problem? Are we in Dumsor? Is it a financial problem? Like Baomi has been saying all this while. I think that was a long part, but you could see where my passion was coming from coming into this.
Thank you very much for the excellent background that you gave concerning these power issues we have in Ghana. So my brother Alfred, we have had issues with power right back from the time Ghana started developing, from the 1980s.
Right.
Try to manage it. Don't forget, at the time that Kwame Nkrumah had a vision when he was building the De-Sosoo Dam, Ghana's population was around 3 million. Based upon that dam was built, and that dam was serving the purpose it was supposed to, serve. As we grow, as the year comes by, as development infrastructure grow, as development settlement are growing nationwide, and the population grows, which we're over 30 million now as we speak. Factories, companies, institutions, schools, people are building more modern houses. The generation has increased. This issue went through President Lawrence's era, through to John Ajakum Kufuor's era, Well, remember John Ajekun Kufuor's era, where they went and purchased some generators to come and solve or to come and help to mitigate the power issues that the country was facing.
Right.
Remember, that was where we were talking about the toy generators. When I see Lugetia said they went and brought in toy generators. You remember that story?
Right.
They tried to find a way to find a temporary solution to the problem. During John Ajekufuor's time, President Mills took over after John Akufuor. President Mills took over. The issue was still persisting. They were trying to find solution to it until His Excellency George Dramani Mahama took over in 2012 as the president of the country. When he took over, he stated categorically that this issue has been an issue that has been persisting for some time now, for some years now. And looking at the way we are growing, looking at the way the development infrastructures are growing in the country, we need to fix this once and for all. That was when our colleagues then in opposition started saying all sorts of things. If you remember, the car power, the American deal, and all those deals came around 2012 to 2016, where we make sure that we are able to produce enough power to serve our country. To fast track, at the time of leaving power in 2016, generating over 5 out all the IPPs that we've signed, just as a means to bring power, to make sure that the power is sufficient for people to use. And there was a plan even to have some power transported to neighboring countries like Togo and Burkina Faso. That is NDC. We had a vision. We signed those different power agreements and had all those powers available.
Okay.
This is the vision of the NDC. At the time we were leaving power, the generation capacity was 5,000 kilowatts, if I'm not mistaken. And the consuming that the generation consuming power that Ghana consume in whole is around 3,200.
3,008 or so, yeah.
Which means there's excess power that is there that is not being used.
Right.
What happened? The plan was that those excess power was supposed to be what?
Sold out, yeah.
So we're supposed to sell them to the neighboring countries like Burkina Faso and Togo.
Right.
When unfortunately we lost power in 2016, my good brother Joe's party took over. They gave them a detailed plan about the power sector. The then former energy minister, the acting energy minister, Honorable Setekpe, and then his deputy, John Jinapo, gave a detailed road map for the sector.
Right.
At the time that we were doing all these things, we brought power, we brought Ameri, and other IPP deals were signed to get enough power. We knew that the existing power pilot, the lines that carry the power or the transmission from one point to another, we need to expand it.
Right.
And that project also before we lost power in 2016. When my good friend Joseph Party took over, they tried to throw dust into the eyes of the good people of Ghana.
Right.
What did they do? Right then, before even I come there, when they were in opposition, they organized series of demonstrations. They were behind paying the some of the people calling themselves celebrities. All sorts of demonstrations were organized. All sorts of things were done when they were in the position just to play politics with this Dumsor issue. His Excellency John Dramani Mahama never ran away from it. He took the total responsibility and he said he promised he was going to fix it. And we fixed the power issue before we left power 2016. And I hope my good friend Joseph will not come and tell me that we didn't fix the issue, because it's on record. When you go to February 24th, 2016, it is on record that His Excellency, the current Vice President, has stated that John Mahama solving Dumsor, he doesn't need any credit. So it's not going to state on this program that we didn't solve the problem. We solved the problem.
So Paul, somebody would say, by that analogy, what you are saying is you are looking at Dumsor as a generation issue, not a financial issue. In that instance, you can say the John Dramani Mahama's administration provided enough generation capacity before leaving. But we are saying that because they also provided enough generation capacity, actually above and beyond what is needed by the country, they incumbent on the country debts that we are still struggling with. So
that is not true. No, that is not true. Let me land. Let me just give my analysis, and then Joseph will come in. Okay. At the time we're living, we have enough generation capacity, but the hot consuming capacity that Ghana was using was around 3,200.
Yeah.
Now, the plan was that we're going to sell the remaining power to neighboring countries. When this government took over, what did they do, my brother? They played politics, propaganda, mischief. That's what they did. They tried to paint the former government black instead of them concentrating on expanding the existing infrastructure upon which this power is being transported. They forgot about that project, focusing on canceling IPPs. And the most interesting part of the whole issue is that when they were in opposition, they were fighting against ESLA. You remember ESLA? Because of a huge debt in the power sector, the visionary leader, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, introduced these ESLA taxes as a form of means to recoup some money to offset the debt in the power sector. Because look, these IPPs that we sign, whether you take it or not, you have to pay the people. So all those plans were put in place.
Okay, let's bring
in power. When they came to power, instead of them following the roadmap, they played politics, and now the infrastructure upon which the power is being transported has reached its usage capacity that they need to improve upon it. They did not do it for the 4 years that they were in power. And now they are lying to Ghanaians that because of the infrastructure that they are building, that is what they look. Joseph, you guys,
I think we'll get into all those details, right? Okay. But I also want Joseph to come in. Sure. Let's get into the preliminary, and then I will go back, get the video from the CEO so we can have a conversation. But Joe, thanks for joining the show again. Joe, you haven't been with us for a couple of programs, and if you could see, we have increased significantly in our viewership. So if you could take your time and quickly introduce yourself. But the question I asked was, all these years we've done big investments like what you saw in the offshore Cape 3 Points, and various governments play a role in getting those projects to where they are today, but there are still some hiccups. It causes us power problems. Some of them are financial, some are generation capacity, like our brother has said. Is Dumsor back? If Dumsor is now back, what is your understanding of Dumsor? And then we'll come back and we'll play the video. So introduce yourself, give me the preliminary comments on what I just asked you, and then we'll continue the show after listening to the video from the CEO of Greco.
Well, thank you so much, Alfred. Hi, Paul. Nice meeting you. I also want to say hello to all our viewers, and I'm always excited to be on your show. Yeah. Am I on? Okay.
Yeah, you're on. Go ahead. So.
Yeah. I mean, so you know me sometimes when I just want us to discuss this issue in a more of a nationalistic perspective. No matter how you describe Dumsor, whether it's generational, whether it is financial, or whether it is a transmission issue, it is Dumsor. And whether even the light went off for maybe just even 1 hour, it's still Dumsor, okay? Or there's still some light out issue, okay? So really, the argument should be what is the effect, what is the magnitude, and what is the government trying to do, or industrial players trying to do to resolve the challenges we are facing. If you recall, as a country, we have always been having Dumsor, and by Dumsor I mean power shortages, and most of the time is due to generational issues because of sometimes either Akosomo, the water level in Akosomo has been reduced drastically because of lack of adequate rainfall, maybe due to prior year or during the rain season, or sometimes there's financial issues to power thermal plants, say Abuaze, or pay Nigerian gas to supply us natural gas so we can use to power our thermal plants. And sometimes it has just been technical issues. Okay, all these scenarios, we have been able to resolve it. In the latest one that comes to mind, aside the 2014 to 2016 NDC Dumsor, was President Kufuor Dumsor, which happened, I think, in 2007, and President Kufuor did justice to it by initiating a process to build Bui Dam. At the same time, we worked so hard frantically to ensure that we brought Akosomo back, because at that time, I think there were only 2 turbines that was running, but Akosomo eventually started running five turbines, and then the issue was resolved. Then NDC came. Somehow they did whatever they can, but they had financial issues mainly, and so couldn't pay Nigerian gas, couldn't pay couldn't buy crude to power the thermal plant we have, couldn't ensure the completion of way on time, and a whole lot of other challenges. And so we were caught in Dumsor for almost 4 good years. Somehow they managed to get us enough generational capacity, even though it came at a high cost, which we are still paying for, in excess of several billions of dollars every year. And so it increased the cost of energy in Ghana drastically. Now, with that expansion of energy infrastructure in Ghana, or the generational capacity in Ghana, as you were saying, government over the years through PNDC, in fact, through Liman time under the rural electrification project, has been extending electricity to almost every corner in Ghana. In fact, Ghana is one of the a country you can talk in terms of electricity coverage and access in sub-Saharan Africa. Ghana is the #1. We are almost getting to 87%.
We are 85
now. That what 85?
Yeah, 85 going 85.5 or so. Yeah,
85 now. With that, and then government, 1 district, 1 factory. But means that
as we are throwing the 85 out there. The plan was for the government to hit 100% by 2020, and this government shifted that plan to 2025. So it's not that we are 85, and so we had a plan. Yeah.
I understand your point. I don't want to even go into all those, but what I'm saying is that we are making effort to expand access to almost everyone. Okay.
Right.
By so doing, we are putting more pressure on the existing infrastructure. In fact, I was trying to get the Energy Commission report, and if you look at the annual report, I'm trying to pull it out, get it as we proceed. It is trying to tell you that the peak load on the transmission lines was around 3,000 kilowatts or so. And at this point, we are running to the maximum peak, the maximum that the load can handle. And we exceeded it even when we go to the 3,200 megawatts. Okay. So what then it means is that we don't have to be engineers. When you have a fuse and you carry more load on the fuse, the fuse will blow. I mean, this is common magnetism and electricity rules. Once you have more load on the transmission lines, it will trigger and the system will shut down. So over time, our inability to put money and investment into the transmission, of course, we can go into all the details about how we are losing almost $12 million every month because of transmission losses. Because, and the report will tell you, every year we have been increasing the transmission losses, and as last year we were having almost 5% transmission losses. That translates into several millions of dollars every month. In fact, it costs ECG $100 million a year, just transmission losses alone. Okay, so what it means is that the system can no longer sustain the energy that has been generated. Well, you can give credence to NDC, whatever, admittedly. The system can no longer handle those transferred to whatever, whether residential or commercial. And so prior to this Dumsor, even though industries and residentials were having energy, some were having low voltage. Some were having low voltage. They couldn't even use the energy that ECG is supplying to them. Okay, so we must understand that over years, lack of investment in ensuring that we get efficient transmission lines, is the main cause of this current Dumsor we have now. So how do we proceed from here? Based on that, admittedly.
Yeah, so let me, I do have a video that I wanted to play so we can all come back and comment on it. But if you want to, in 1 minute, quickly wrap up so that we can go to the video. Okay. I don't know if you heard me, but then, okay. So thank you so much for that preliminary comment. And what I'm going to do now is, Marafa, let me bring in the video I'm talking about, which is something we heard from, hold on. If you don't mind, okay, let me take a quick commercial break, and then when I get back, we'll jump into this video. And what I'm talking about is an interview that was had with by Ben Affleck with the CEO of Grid Code, and he kind of had a different way of looking at whether it's Dumsor we are experiencing or not. And I want us to kind of chime in on that as well. So we will be right.
Hey, this your girl coming all the way from the US of A, yeah, baby, aka ya Bantam. And me di feel a buzzing pan and to see one virtual the money how Ghana mat ada romantic. What's me sending provisions as a sutra credit Emma Owusu ya phone and the form one Ghana. And one is a www.ghanamat.com. And they would say, boy, a sharp connection. www.ghanamat.com. Let's try provisions in credit. Na really ankasa. I have friend numbers na mo screen na seno. Ghana Mat ye krano.
As I have said, we are not in Dumsor, and I will repeat it. There are some little problems in the system. I mean, in every system, there are some problems, and when the problem arises, all that we need to do is to try to fix it. And that is exactly what we do. We are here to fix the problems. We are not here to give excuses. And in the power sector, there are little things that may cause your light to go off. as I said, it might be a request, or it might be something that had come in an emergency. In an emergency, you cannot, that thing has happened already. So when do you go and then publish a schedule or to announce that this is going to happen? There are some of the things that you cannot anticipate. The ones that we are able to anticipate, like the Volta region one that we said we are going to do it, or as we said in subsequent months, if you go around Accra and even on the road, you will see that we are stringing transmission lines. We have got transmission lines that needs to be strung, and we are going to string them. And in order to string these lines, because they are in close proximity of existing lines, you have to take some of the lines off for safety reasons. Otherwise, you are going to kill human beings. You understand? When you are going to interconnect into an existing system, you have to take it off. And those ones are anticipatory, so you can announce that this is what is going to happen.
Okay.
But if it is an emergency, maybe some overload, a transformer will have to go off. That one.
So
you cannot give prior notice.
Fair enough.
We cannot hear you.
We just listened to the CEO of Gridco, Mr. Makuba, explaining what, in his understanding, is Dumsor. In other words, where you give a schedule, advanced scheduling that you are rationing power, that to him is Dumsor. But in situations where there are emergency outages, like Joe Owusu was describing as too much load on the fuse, and therefore the fuse is blowing, that those ones you cannot give prior notices, and because you're not giving prior notices, that those are not Dumsor. Now, has he given prior notices for the ones that happened in Volta region? Has there been prior notices for all the scheduled maintenances where they were, like you were saying, doing something to the lines? Did they give prior notices to those ones? And if they gave prior notices to those ones, does that mean they were Dumsor in those areas? Let me put that to you, Mr. Paul. Are we now saying that because there's no schedule that there's no Dumsor? What is it? We need to re-qualify really what the meaning of Dumsor is.
Mr. Alfred Amuzu, the Gridco boss, Mr. Mwakon Ban,
Right.
he's an interesting guy. Look, this is common sense. This is common sense. People who are not even engineers, okay, would know that all the explanation he was giving are just an excuses to run away from the reality.
Right.
Look, let's take it. Let's break it down. Number one, he stated that this is not the Dumsor. What do you mean by Dumsor? And I think I'm grateful that my good friend Joseph has admitted on this program that as soon as the light goes off, it's Dumsor. I'm happy. So let's make a headway. So I'll also try to put the politics aside. But you see, Mr. Makumba was trying to put the reasons out there which does not make sense. In the first place, let's all agree on this program that we have no issue with generation capacity. Let's all agree on this program because we have enough generation capacity. The issue of what is the cause of the problem that is happening is a transmission issue.
Right.
When we say transmission, it is the process by which you transport the power that you have generated,
right,
from the source, from one point to another. And how does the power get transported? Pylons, through power lines.
Right.
Now, when we were leaving power, when we handed over to the NPP government in 2017, 7 January, that were given to them involve the upgrade of our transmission lines. And in my prior introduction, I stated categorically that they played politics and mischief and propaganda. That's what has taken us to where we are today. Now, let me go back to the Greek kobolds. The Greek kobolds were saying that because they are expanding the transmission lines and because they don't want to kill people, they have to, turn the power off so that they can put up the strength of the power lines, run the strength. And look, that is not true. The only time that I will admit that they have to turn off power is when they are about to do the interconnection between the old line to the new. It is like you have two lines running.
Right.
Let's also establish the fact on this program that we are dealing with thousands and hundreds of megawatt and kilowatt of power. So you cannot joke with it. Take time, it can burn you down. So there is no way that you will tell me that the existing pylon, okay, that is already existing, the new one that you are building to it, you have to interconnect them whilst you are building them. It is not true. Before you can do that interconnection, you have to finish with a certain stretch. Let's assume maybe you are building a new pylon line from maybe Accra to maybe Kaswa. You have to build those lines separately, which will be working alongside with the existing power line. After you finish building it from the point A to point B, and you are satisfied, then you do what we call cut over. That's what he is referring to, interconnect, so that you can then now load or carry the load from the existing one to the new one, or do a cross wiring to have the load equally distributed. So for him to come and tell us that they have to do interconnecting and they cannot predict it is a lie.
Right.
It's a lie. And don't forget that the breakdown chief executive officer has come out to debunk all what he said.
Right.
Mr. Muzu, the truth of the issue is that somebody didn't do his work well, played politics with this. They've waited to a level that the current existing pilots are not able to carry the load, as my good brother Joe said.
Right.
When for the past 4 years they've been in power, if they have concentrated on the power transmission lines, if they had continued with the work that the NDC government was doing and left behind, we would not have been finding ourselves in this situation.
Okay, let's bring Joe in on that. Let's bring Joe in. And then before I bring Joe in, quickly, let me look at what comments I have out there. Royal Black Jesus, thanks for watching. Royal Black Jesus is our director of Trend African TV. We are also streaming live on Trend Africa. I have a show with Royal Black Jesus on Sunday. It's called Maka, and I do the politics sections. So catch me tomorrow on that show. And if we have all kinds of other shows on the Trend Africa and also on the ACO TV network. So please tune into our channels tomorrow, and there will be shows on sports and or what have you. Also, I have David here saying, is Dumsor over? So I think we are trying to answer that question. Emmanuel is saying, Ghana 1%. Mahatma is Dumsor, Nanado is Sodom. Why? Okay, great. Thanks for that comment, Mr. Emmanuel. I have Garon, is it Garosnisa? Okay, it's Kanemeya. Okay, I got it. He says, Amen. I'm sure somebody says cause him to say amen to that. John says, sometime I do not understand NDC and their party. They have been in power for long term. They're supposed to do better. So when another party comes, it will be easy for another government to continue. I'm sure what's left over so should give us a break. The problem was there for years and they will stay in opposition for long term. Somebody's saying, the NDC.
This gentleman doesn't know what he's talking about.
Yeah, but let me
debunk what he's saying based on whatever he has written over there.
Okay.
When MPP took power 2017.
Yeah.
End of 2017, what did they tell us? They told us that they've resolved all the power issue. What is he talking about? The question or the issue we are talking about over here, I'm saying it's not a generational issue, it's a transitional issue. The MPP government sat on a roof and they allowed the transmission lines over exceed its capacity.
Right.
So therefore now the power that is supposed to be transmitted through the pylons are huge that the current lines cannot take it.
Right.
No choice to build new lines to be able to take those things. And this will take about a year to a half or 2 years to do. So Ghanaians should be ready to be facing Dumsor from now to next year. That's the truth of the issue.
Okay, so let me bring in Joe on that as well. Joe, so Joe, what is being said here by our good friend Paul is that the MPP sat aloof for years and did not, put in place the upgrades that are needed for the capacity, the growth in capacity that we saw based on, industrial progressive development. Now they are caught, and the excuse is, we are replacing this, some fuels are going to blow. But the real issue is those investments have now been made for the last 4 years, and so we should expect, power rationing for the next 1 year. Is it time for the government to start issuing a timetable by being honest with the people and telling the people that this is the situation? We have to replace a lot of our lines, and therefore it's going to cost. And because if you're replacing a line, when you're going to, have to do that. So it's not like you are surprised. And another question that I have in my mind is the CEO, does he have a KPI that requires him to, make sure a certain amount of power is generated on a daily basis? And if he does, how does he ensure that his KPI is met?
That's a good question, Mr. Muzu.
Yes, sir.
That's a good question.
I'm not hearing you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, to respond to the line was breaking, so I couldn't get you well. But let me just respond to what Paul was saying initially. Okay. You look at the mid-year review of the 2020 electricity supply plan from Energy Commission, and I'm reading. You can check from page 5. It says that under the distribution, based on the sub-transmission reliability studies undertaken by ECG, a number of interventions and projects were initiated in 2019, and I'll refer to that later on, and are expected to be completed to resolve various constraints of low voltage feeder and transformer overloads during firm and non-firm conditions. Some of the key projects are reconstruction of the Nsaban, Dabuase, and Owusu substation, expansion expansion of the Wija, Tokosi, and Winneba outdoor substation, construction of critical 33 kV sub-transmission circuits from Diamond Cement to Agona in Kwanta, provision of dedicated 33 kV circuit from the ECG Takrade Harbour substation to the on-dock container.
Our friend Joe just dropped off, so let's hope Joe comes back and finish that list of projects that he has started telling us about there. But Paul, okay, I think he's coming back.
I think Joe himself is committing himself right now. So this is there.
Yeah.
So he didn't work on this document. This document has been existing since 2019.
Right.
Don't forget, if you go back to that same report, if you go back to 2017, the same report or the same estimation has been made that these things are supposed to be done.
Right.
Once again, I am saying that the NPP government sat aloof, playing mischief propaganda, concentrating and doing their job. They were trying to seek the sympathies of Ghanaians, trying to create impression to Ghanaians that they are the best managers of the economy,
right?
Which is now exposing them.
Right. Okay.
That when you lie, your life will be exposed big time
Right.
by Dumsor.
All right, so we have Joe back. Joe, sorry for that quick interruption there. You were giving us a list of projects that were ongoing, and again, Paul came back to say that these projects have been things that were on planned since 2017 when he took over. That in fact, when the government was taking over, all this were laid out in front of them, but they sat aloof. And now we are in.
Alfred, the point is that these transmission issues have been they have been a problem for Ghana over decades.
Right.
I mean, some of the substations were constructed over 40 years ago, 30 years ago. Okay, over time, because our demand was not up to the transmission threshold, we managed to work with them. Now, because of expansion, we have gotten to a critical level where we are almost, in fact, we have exceeded it, because when you read the report, it tells you that the transmission lines have been overloaded, and it gives you even up to the kilowatt, the excess power we are transmitting on the lines. As a result, the lines can no longer carry the power that has been generated, and then power.
I'm saying, how do you sit down? How do you not know this? It's not like you are surprised all of a sudden.
Okay, so the point is that government. That is why the ECG. That's why the ECG MD was saying that this ECG was it
the Greco
was saying that. Yeah, the Greco board. That's why he was saying that when you are confronted with challenges, you find solution to them. So prior to this, we already knew these issues, and government was looking for money. Okay, government was looking for money to fix these challenges. I mean, and that's why I'm reading the report to you. Some of these reports were 2019 reports. Some of the studies were done in 2016. Okay, but you must understand that almost $300 million that should have come from the Millennium Challenge account through the U.S. government support to the energy sector didn't come because of this PDS issue. Okay, so government needed to frantically look for another source of funding to fund the project. I mean, you understand that Ghana's revenue and our money situation is so horrible that anytime you are in short of $300 million, it's not easy to come by. And probably that is why, that's my personal explanation, that is why maybe the project delayed. But for anybody to come and because of politics and say, we are being exposed because of this and all that, because they were not able to manage the energy situation 4 years ago, and that we were in Dumsor for 4 years. We are not talking about 2 months. We are not talking about a month. Government, and in fact, this time around, you have experts and civil society. They have been so open and transparent that we have given timelines, okay, that by July, by September, because by July, we should finish the southern part of Ghana. We will come to Accra. Latest by September, October, this problem will be over. Okay, this is a transparent government and honest government. Okay,
where's the source of this information, Joe? Because we want to make sure.
No, you can read the report. You can, in fact, some of these projects should have been finished by 2020, but because of coronavirus, some of them we couldn't. I mean, because there were issues of shipment of materials and also.
Joe, you mentioned you said the government has to go and find money to do all these things, right? So we are saying that even VRA itself, we are aware that VRA is not paying for even the gas that is giving VRA to generate power. And therefore, we are getting ready to default on some of the guarantees that the World Bank gave us when we were building the KIP 3.0. Now, we know that 10% of the power we generated get lost technically, but also we know that there are other losses in the system, commercial losses, which are due to the fact that this self-help electrification plan. And I don't know if you are familiar with that, but in 1989, we adopted what we call the National Electrification Scheme, which says that by year 2020, we would have 100% of our country, on the grid. So along the line, to facilitate communities to get on the grid quickly, we came up with this self-help electrification plan, which says that if your community is 30 kilometers away from a power grid, and we were even specific, we say a low voltage grill or a high voltage grid, depending on your distance from that, if you are able to buy the low voltage poles, if you have enough houses, with the fixtures, the electrical fixtures, to use the electricity when they get extended to your village, that a meter is given to you, that the government to collaborate and extend power to those villages. This thing has caused our acceleration, and it caused us to actually cover that 85 space that we actually, or the 85 assets that we currently have. So this program was useful, but this program has turned into a politician's piggy bank. These meters that are supposed to be going to these self-help electrification programs, majority of them return to Accra and Kumasi and are connected to the grid. And these meters are even disfigured to where whenever these meters are connected, or the houses connected to these meters are not paying. And this is costing us $3 billion.
Don't even mention that, because it is the NDC who caused that problem.
Are you
I'm telling you, to be honest with you, it is the NDC I'm telling you, it is the NDC who contracted Alotejo Corps and Co. to be ordering meters. That is the origination of that problem. Because for the first time in Ghana history under Mahama, and that's why I understand Ghanaians when we are in Dumsor, fine, and I don't want to play politics about that. But when you create the problem, and then you come back and accuse the government who is trying its best to solve it. Sometimes I feel so
increase. This is what No,
we are talking about the financial. I thought you were asking me why government has not been a financial position of Agrico and ECG and what have you. And I'm trying to let you know that the NDC, because they mismanaged the provision of meters, and politicized it, and politicized the importation of meters and distributed them, you have a lot of losses going on at the residential side and even some businesses due to the meters that were not calibrated by the ECG, which was supplied by Alotejo Corp and the NDC. And as a result, ECG is losing several millions and millions of dollars every month. Because of that, ECG could not realize the financial projections.
So
secondly, when government came,
the issue has gotten worse.
Mr. Alfred, I think I need to respond.
Right.
So let me finish quick. Finish. Of course, another issue. Let me finish quick. Another issue is that you see, when MPP party came into power, the cost of electricity was so high, and that cost was set because they wanted to give some money to the power sectors, Gridco, VRA, ECG. They wanted to make sure that they produce at cost and make profit. So for the first time, you remember, Gridco financial statement was good, and VRA too was good. But then ask yourself, the general economy was crying, with both businesses and residents. As a result, our GDP was growing negatives, 3.something%. So government position then was, okay, how then do we bring some kind of ease into the economy? Let me reduce tariffs. We can deal with the deficit in the energy sector later on. Let me renegotiate all these energy deals and see if we can bring the cost down. And by so doing, we can give some kind of financial free. We can give some breathing to this energy players. And so for me, I mean, in principle, I agree with the government for doing that. As a result, Ghanaians were paying electricity that they were not complaining compared to how everyone was crying under NDC. And I have relatives in Ghana, and they can witness to that. We all go to Ghana, and we know how Ghanaians were crying. In fact, at a point in time, ECG have to even come and defend itself of overcharging Ghanaians. Okay, now that came with a negative effect on the financial position of most of this energy the financial position of most of these energy players, whether ECG or Gridco or VRA. As a result, they have not been able to make payments. Okay, but then government through the Energy Sector Recovery Act, and government, of course, the problem even came, and the problem was exacerbated by the COVID, and that 6-month plus energy free that the government announced. Nobody planned for COVID. Okay, so all these things we must do this argument in perspective. So all these things is giving some kind of liquidity challenges to these energy players, and of course, government in particular, because the revenues that we expect to generate, we didn't get them because of COVID. Whatever be the case, give me 1 minute. Whatever be the case, government is now confronting the challenges squarely, and government is saying, I am going to fix it. As a result, ECG Gridco is not complaining that government has not provided the financial support it needs to complete the project.
The government just admit, because you have to admit that you have a problem, and then before you tell us you are going to fix it. If you don't say, if you say you don't have a problem, now what are you going to fix?
Well, I think you are misquoting the government. I don't think government has not admitted that there's a problem. In fact, the energy minister himself came and said that there's a problem and we are going to fix it by July. And he said by then we'll go to Accra. So that is an admission that there's a challenge. Okay. But that's why I don't want to go on the semantics of whether there's Dumsor or not Dumsor. There's a challenge, and the challenge is that we are having energy issues in Ghana. And government is saying, I'll resolve this issue by December at most.
Great.
Not July again.
I said July is in relation to southern sector. July is in relation to southern sector, not the whole country. After the southern sector, they will come
so I think we are all right, because Paul, you say that Ghanaians should be prepared for Dumsor until sometime next year. Joe is saying it will be all over in December. So
it's not true. Look, this cheap populist agenda and populist propaganda should stop.
Right.
Okay. Of course, you don't have the credibility to doubt, because under your care, we were in Dumsor for 4 years. And for you started with Boko Haram trying to sabotage the supply of electricity from gas from Nigeria to Ghana. Then you came with another excuse of a South African ship destroying the connection from somewhere to Ghana. Then you came with so many excuses upon excuses. For 4 years, we were in Dumsor. And the same government, in less than 5 years, you are now accusing a government who is trying doing all what it takes to solve power issue in less than 3 months. I think you don't have the moral right. NDC does not have moral right to make this a submission. Honestly.
Okay, let's go. Paul,
Joe, are you done?
He interjected and then made his comment about you are not
Joe, when you're talking, I didn't utter words. So just listen to me, please, my good friend Joe. I am saying this cheap populist agenda and propaganda and mischief from the MPP side should stop. Joe, if you finish this program, go back and listen to yourself. You've contradicted yourself a lot of time on this show this afternoon. Look, Joe is over here telling us that the financial issue in the sector was as a result of Alotejo Corp. Let me put it on record. Alotejo Corp is not part of the NDC. It's not an NDC member. I'm not going to even speak for him. But the question over here is, let my good friend Joe understand that supplying this is done under every government. Under their government, Japan has been given contract to supply meters. Does that imply that when Kennedy Japan was given the contract, those meters that he supplied to the government of Ghana to ECG, those meters were also not calibrated? That's
under the NDC, the meters did not go through ECG. That is where the problem came from. Alote Jacob and the NDC were distributing the meters without it being calibrated by ECG. And that is where the difference between yours and the Kennedy Japan's own.
Joe, there's nothing you can say to take yourself out. Number two, I am putting on record that you stated categorically on this show this afternoon that as a result of losing that $300 million of the US grant to support the power sector due to the corruption of your government, due to the corruption act of your government, the PDS deal, which is the loss of that $300 million. That is why your government, your super incompetent government, could not continue to expand the transmission line. You said this thing on this program this evening. And also, you also Joe, you know
because you are looking at this from just one angle. You are looking at the 300 million not coming, but we saved almost $1 billion of just renegotiating that deal. Okay, so I mean, you must do.
I mean, are you saying
that is not true?
Was renegotiated?
That is not true. That is not true. The PDSD was stink. It was corruption, which involved the president and the presidency and his brothers and his family people, which you know of.
I thought the NDC was accusing the government of selling ECG to PDS. And that when Nanado now cancelled it, you are now accusing Nanado of being corrupt.
Let me talk.
The initial position was that Nanado was selling ECG to PDS. And now when Nanado cancelled the contract, you are the same NDC accusing Nanado again.
Joe, remember,
your tactics is not going to work on me because I am very focused and I know what I'm saying.
No, I want to be clear here. Were you against the PDS contract? Were you against the PDS contract?
When we come back.
No, Alfred, you are not being fair to me. Alfred, Joe has spoken for the past 15 minutes.
Yes, when I come back from the commercial break, I have a question for you because he said,
Mr. Owusu, you are not being fair to me. Joe has said a whole lot of things which is not true this afternoon, and I need to debunk all. And if I try to debunk it, he interjects me, and I'll stop and listen to him. Can we agree and have a gentleman agreement this afternoon that he should keep quiet and let me finish with my submission?
Yeah, so Joe, we need to do that. So once you finish your presentation, I mean, you want to give the platform to the other party to also present their case. So let's take this quick commercial. When we come back, Paul, you'll be on.
Saying, okay.
All right, let's get some money for ACO Radio, and when we get back, we will continue our conversation.
Hey, this your girl coming all the way from the US of A, yeah, baby, aka Ya Phantom. And me di feel like boozing pan and to see one virtue the money how Ghana Mart ada romantic. With me sending provisions, as I such credit, Emma Ebusuya phone and for more Ghana. And one is a www.ghanamart.com. Then they would say, boy, a sharp connection. www.ghanamart.com. Let's provisions in the credit. Na very young as Ankasa. I have friend numbers, no screen. Ghana Mart, yeah, crown.
All right, welcome back to the show. This is the Ghana Agenda. My name is Owusu, and I'm here today talking to Mr. Paul De-Sosoo of the NDC, Massachusetts. and also Joe Owusu of MPP. We are looking at Dumsor. We are saying, is it because there's no timetable? We are not going to call it Dumsor. Now, should there be timetable? Because we know that there's things that need to be changed. Infrastructure need to be improved. Joe is saying, yes, maybe by December we'll be done with all the improvements needed for the current infrastructure to be able to carry the load required for the country to continue to grow and support its economic activity. Mr. Paul is saying, no way, this is not going to have us, Dumsor is going to continue. Oh, power rationing will continue in Ghana for at least 1+ more years, so until next year. So you wouldn't see this problem over now. We currently lost Joe, so we'll wait for Joe to come on. But Paul, you were talking. You were going to rebut to some of the things Joe said. Joe saying the meters that were installed by Alote Jacob were
That is a fat lie.
not
That is a fat
calibrated.
lie.
So there are a lot of off-grid losses, which account to about 14% of the power generated. 14% of the power generated in Ghana is lost due to illegal connections to the grid. How do you answer to that?
I want to say that's a fat lie from my good friend Joe this afternoon. I'm coming back to the power losses. The power losses in a system is something that has happened and keep on happening, and it is something that has been there for years.
Right.
Reason why the compact deal, the second compact deal with the US, which was going to give us 300 million to restructure the power sector, okay, due to the corruption deal involved, which involved the president's family and friends, which led to the cancellation of that deal. I should not sit on this show and tell us that the president canceled that deal to save 1 billion. It is not true. The president never saved Ghana any money. Ghana was rather going to get $300 million from the US to invest in the power sector. And the corruption in the PDS deal, which involved the president's brother, cousins, nephews, and friends, which led for our asset, over $2 billion asset was given out free.
Right.
Even a same guarantee has led to where we are today. It is true that that money was going to be used to build and expand the transmission line.
Right.
It was due to their negligence, due to their incompetence that led to that PDS deal being one of the biggest corruption deal ever in the history of Ghana.
Right.
That's why we are facing what we are facing today. Number two, he was talking about, the government was being very, having pity upon the people when they came to power. That is why they have to reduce power. They have to reduce the cost of power. That's because the populist agenda, populist propaganda, populist mischief. They did that because they wanted to seek favor in the eyes of the good people of Ghana, forgetting that the power that they are being generated is being generated by, and money is involved, is being generated by IPPs, independent power producers, generate those powers, which we need to pay them. Now, the most annoying part of the whole issue is that for 6 months last year, they were paying 50% of the power that is being supplied. So you see, so for Joe to come and sit here and say the financial issue in the sector is a result of Alotejo Corp, it's a big fat lie.
Right.
I'm not speaking for Alotejo Corp. I will never defend Alotejo Corp because he's not part of the NDC, of the party. He's an ungrateful person, so I'll not even want to talk about him. But I think that the losses in the power sector is as a result of their populist agenda, their populist, cheap political mischief and propaganda that they put out there by reducing the power that the amount of the right amount that Ghanaians were supposed to pay, the amount, and also last year they cut 50% off. Okay. To pay for those money. Don't tell me that you were doing this thing to revive the economy. Look, Ghanaians were ready to pay for the power as far back as 2014, 2015, 2016, when the power issue was, when we had issues with power with the generation. When Mahama government, the diligent government, the work hard-working government worked very hard to get the generation to where it is today. Ghanaians stated categorically they were ready to pay for electricity no matter how much it cost. So to come to power, to come and reduce it and be telling us today that you were doing that to meet Ghanaians halfway, that is cheap propaganda.
Right.
So that I'm saying, and I'm ending on this statement to tell my friend Joe that all the issues in the power sector is as a result of their mismanagement. They play politics, they play mischief, they try to deceive Ghanaians. And Alfred, let me tell you something. The NPP knew they were going to lose power in 2020 election. They knew it.
Right.
But you know what? God is a God that you should always worship.
Right.
If Jane Mensah and the Supreme Court had not turned the figures around, and don't forget, this is the only election that we have 6 different figures. As we speak, I know Joe don't know which one is the correct figures, and we all don't know. So let's put it right. If Mahama has been the president elected, and he was the duly president elected, but they took the hand and took the power away from him. If everything has gone fair and Mahama was in power, see the noise that Joe and his people will be making. They will not come and sit here and be telling us it's a transmission issue. It's out for sit. They will not be saying that.
Okay, let me take a few.
It is interesting. It is interesting for the NPP folks to be telling us today that what is happening is not Dumsor. It's as a result of technical issues. Who told them at the time that the NDC was in power, it was not a technical issue? And before I land, 1 minute, let's all admit on this program this evening. Generation issue and transmission issue. Which one is the most difficult one to solve or to deal with? Obviously, it's the generation.
Yeah.
If you don't generate the power, how can you transmit it?
Right.
This should tell you how super incompetent Joe and his government and his party are. They are super incompetent in such a way that we've been able to solve the generation issue.
Right.
If you focusing on the transmission to rebuild and build new pylon lines and new transmission lines to be able to transmit the power, you played politics, and due to corruption, you lost 300 million, and you are now complaining. The cap is that when you throw a ball to hit the wall, it will come back to you.
It bounces back to you. Thank you so much for that.
And it's coming back to them.
Thank you so much for that submission, Mr. Paul. Let me take a quick message here from, I think Emmanuel said Dumsor is back in Ghana. We've already read that. Okay, no, now we didn't actually read that. So Emmanuel, let's go back to you. He says, Dumsor is back in Ghana to kill the economy. All right. That's a little passionate over there, Mr. Emmanuel. Yao says, Nana get his last 4 years, so he does not care. Okay, that's your opinion, and I'm sure Joe would disagree with that. So, Joe, when it comes to your turn, let Miss Yao Ya or Mr. Yao Ya knows exactly how you feel about the comment that's, the president doesn't care. John Jones says, honestly speaking, our system is melting and going astray. It is too bad. All right. That is the sentiment Paul will identify with. Johnny Woods, who has been one of our vid watchers, and we appreciate you, joining the show week by week and continuing to contribute to the show. You make the show rich, Mr. Johnny Woods. Johnny Woods says, Dumsor by any other name is still Dumsor. And I cannot agree more. He says, don't insult Ghanaians' intelligence. I felt insulted too. When he comes on and says because the schedule is not, distributed and therefore it's not Dumsor, he kind of is, insulting my intelligence. And so Johnny Woods, I feel exactly the same, and I share those same sentiments. John again came back to say that, and government always lies to the Ghanaians. I hope Joe Owusu is not lying to us. He's telling us that by December, all this should go away. Now, Paul, no. Let's go back to Joe. Paul, we just took your submission. So, Joe, Paul raised some interesting points here. Paul is saying that, your government haven't made the investments. And that is why we are where we are. It is not because you've shown any competence, and that for just that fact that you were unlucky that we are where we are. He's saying that the problem you had is, or the problem the MPP government is confronted with, is a basic transmission problem. It's not the generation problem that NDC has to deal with. And he's also saying that NDC excel when it came to confronting the problem they were faced with, which was a generation problem. They left the country with excess capacity. But I'm also quick to note that you will say, in doing so, they overcommitted the country, got into agreement to which we are still paying. But then I'm going to counter you quickly before you even think about it, before you come there, because I'm going to say that those agreements, those generations that we are not currently consuming, it's not like we are losing them forever. When it's time for us to be able to consume those things, those private partners are supposed to generate those powers for us to take in. Right now, it's just like we can't consume them, we can't export them neither. So you don't even have to, fire your plants and generate anything. We just pay you. But when we need it, you produce. So it kind of counter that. But the bigger question is what you are confronted with in terms of the scale of issues within the power sector. It's not as huge as the generation problem. What do you say to that?
Well, like I keep on saying, and I've been consistent here, if you take 2019 energy consumption in Ghana, and right. I'm reading from the Energy Commission report, it says that the actual energy consumed was higher than projected by 0.76 or 74.6 gigawatts. A total of 9,002.98 gigawatts was consumed during the same period in 2019. Thus, the 2020 energy consumption represents 10.18% or 916.14 gigawatts increase over that of 2019. Now, this is just 10% from 2019 to 2020. So just ask yourself, from 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020, and now 2021. So clearly, if you I will advise De-Sosoo to just get the report and read it. Clearly, you could see that over time, the system has been able to support us, but now the system cannot support anymore. And that's the fundamental problem. That's the issue. Yeah, this is electricity we are talking about. One kilowatt of energy can turn the whole system off. We could be using it for 100 years without a problem. By just adding one kilowatt of energy to it can shut the system down. That is where we are now. Okay, so what is the government doing? And that is why I enumerated some of the projects government has been working on to you here. And government is working on other several projects. Government is working on other several projects, including the 330.
We are saying that, the government is now being surprised by these events, right? The fact that our transmissions voltage or whatever you call it is being overloaded. Surprised by that, right? So it's not like they're just now starting to implement projects. Shouldn't they have already been implementing projects?
No, some of the projects. That's why I started saying something. Some of them are completed already. That's why I said the reconstruction of the
as you answer the question, you can also
the substation is completed already. The Dabwase one is completed already. The Weja Achimota one, the Winneba outdoor substation completed already. And the 33K substation circuit from Diamond Cement to Agona has been completed already.
Right.
Some of them have been completed already.
Dr. Faustina, who's hold on. Let me get you to answer this as well as you frame your answers. Dr. Faustina Quiz is saying that we need to have a national agenda and hold our leaders accountable moving forward. So bake your answer. There is a national agenda. There was a plan that was under to this government with all
the plan is being executed. The plan is being executed. The government is working on all the transmission lines that need to be changed. You see, what is happening, and I'm being honest with you, what is happening is that, and this one, whether it is technical or whatever, I have no idea. But what is happening is that, unfortunately, for some reason, the system could not support the current transmission before the completion of the major, before completion of the biggest transmission infrastructure they are working on, which is the Kumasi one, the 330 kV one they are working on. For some reason, the system could not, as soon as we entered 2021, maybe because the economy is opening up because the COVID is almost getting outside, and so industries have begun to run. So for some reason, the system cannot sustain them any longer. And that is why ECG and the Greco and everyone is even finding it difficult to give you timelines. Because what is happening is that it's not like they are planning.
Describing a lot of failures. You are telling me that you are telling me that Greco can be because
that is technical. This is technical. This is purely technical, and that's why I keep telling you. I mean, I wish we have time to read the report. The report, if you read the report, it's telling you that the capacity of the transmission lines.
Which report are you referring to so my viewers and listeners can download?
The Energy Commission report. You can go to Energy Commission website and read the annual report. The annual report of the Energy Commission. It's telling you that the total transmission capacity in Ghana was around 2,900. And now we are having 3,000 plus on the capacity. And that is why the system has been shutting down. And that is how come somewhere about a month or two ago, the whole country experienced Dumsor.
Yeah, the annual report you're looking at, which year are you looking at? Because they don't even have...
I'm looking at the 2021. The 2021.
The latest they have loaded up here is 2016. They don't even have 2019.
No,
so,
there's a 2021. Go to the annual electricity supply plan.
Okay, yeah, just keep going and then I'll pull it up here. And
you pull that one. So and remember, this report was done in 2020, and they anticipated that the system is going to have these challenges. Okay, so clearly, government, and I said government started working on some of these projects in 2017, 2018, 19. Unfortunately, the system for some reason can no longer sustain the management we've been going on over decades. But for once, you have an honest and a leader with integrity saying, I'm going to solve it by July, by September, by December. I mean, that is better than the one we had just recently. We were in Dumsor for 4 years. And I can't imagine how someone who superintended Dumsor for 4 years, all of a sudden accusing the government who is trying to solve Dumsor in less than 1 month. But of course, I'm not surprised again because it is NDC. Because they are always not, the only consistency in the NDC is that they are inconsistent. And that is how come they can accuse the government who is trying to solve Dumsor. Admittedly, on this platform, I have not come to do the semantics of whether it is Dumsor or not. For me, it is Dumsor. Whether it is technical, financial, or whatever, it is Dumsor. But the government is saying, I'm working hard to resolve the Dumsor issues, and I'll resolve it by December.
Is this the report you're talking
about? Yes.
Okay.
That is the report. You can read or you can go to. And so for me, that is an honest government. It is better, far better than what NDC gave us in 4 years. We were in Dumsor, and they were not honest with us.
Right.
We understand Ghanaians. We apologize. We apologize. We will resolve the issues. They should just give us some time. We are pleading with them by July, September, December. We will resolve it because we are doing it on regional basis. The southern sector will be over by somewhere by July, and then by December this will be over.
Okay,
thank you.
On behalf of the government, Mr. Joe Owusu is apologizing to Ghanaians and he's saying that be rest assured there are projects underway and these projects will solve all our Dumsor problems. He's forecasting that December will be when that happens, but at the southern sector, he's actually a little more optimistic that by July we should be out of Dumsor.
I'm telling you that is not true, Alfred. I'm saying that is not true.
Okay.
Yeah,
Tell
July is just 3 months, 3 or 4 months ahead of us. We will come back at the end of July, and I will make sure that Joe Owusu will swallow the big fat lie he has told on this show this afternoon. I am telling you, this thing will go to next year. Just mark it on the wall and see. Look, Joe is on this.
And even if it goes to next year, it's much better than 4 years that you guys supervised, right?
Joe,
because clearly, right on this show, you are saying you won the election without providing any proof. You went to court, you lost there, and right on this program, you are denying.
Let you finish.
Joe,
let you finish.
Joe,
let
can
you
I
finish
speak?
And then you can come back in. Yes.
Joe, can I speak? I am saying on record that the date that you are giving, July, September, December, you are lying to the good people of Ghana once again.
Right.
You will not be solved. Why? Because it's financial issue.
Right.
The government don't have the resources to invest, to expand the lines to carry the load that we are, or the load that
all the projects are now being worked on. So I don't know why you're saying government don't have the money. All the projects are going on. As we are speaking now, the projects are going on.
I think Joe is not being fair to me this afternoon.
So Paul, he's asking a very important. He's making a very important comment.
I'm saying
projects ongoing.
There's nothing that they are working on. The project, the space and speed supposed to work on this project, that's not happening. And I am telling you that this thing that they are doing, some work is going on, but not at the rate that is supposed to go on. So therefore, the timelines that he has given on this show, July, September, December, they will not meet those deadlines. And I am telling him, I will be back with him on this show, and he's going to apologize to me and the NDC on this show for deceiving Ghanaians. That's point number one. Point number two, for my good brother to be sitting here and be telling me that the Energy Commission has written a report there, I am telling him that he should go back as far as 2017. Those reports, those informations were there. The demand, all those things has been budgeted, estimated. We estimated. That is why the NDC, when we're solving the generation issue, we tried 5,000 megawatt of power. And as we speak, Ghana's consumption is around 3,000 to 3,300 megawatt of power.
Right.
So I am telling him on this show this afternoon that as an engineer, the difficult part is generation is more difficult to resolve than transmission.
Okay.
I am also saying to him that due to their incompetency, due to their neglect of the power sector, due to the corruption that has eaten this government up, that is why this thing is happening. It is a financial issue. They should go look for the money and build those lines so that they divert the power on those lines so that Ghanaians will have power. Whether he likes it or not, let's also set the record straight. Dumsor was never 4 years. It was 2.5 to 3 years. It was never 4 years. They keep on throwing into the eyes of good people of Ghana that Dumsor was for 4 years. It is not true.
Well, Daniel voted you out. Daniel voted you out on Dumsor, so we
2014, Dumsor started around 2014, 2015, and it was solved before we got out of power 2016.
Well, Ghanaians gave a verdict on in 2016, so we don't have to have argument over this. The verdict was that you were incompetent.
The verdict on 2016 election was due to the lies you told the good people of Ghana. You promised Ghana that you are holier than thou, but you came to power. A merry deal, which you promised the good people of Ghana that we overestimated it with 130 million. You ended up overestimating it to 800 million, which was involving the president. The president's brother, Bedietu, Asante Bedietu, signed that letter with the approval of the president. If it was not due to the diligence of the MPs at the minority side, the government, the Nanado and his brother and his family would have stolen 800 million of Ghana's money. We caught you guys red-handed. That is what led to the dismissal of the first energy minister and the president's government. So if we are talking about corruption, We are talking about incompetency. It is your hallmark. It is the hallmark.
Okay, Paul, I know we've scheduled 1.5 hours for this show, and we've come to that timeline, and I'm sure you guys will be able to maybe spend another 5 minutes so we can do our closing statements before we bring the show to an end. So let me say that from everything I've heard, the consensus on this program today is that we are in Dumsor. There's no semantic problems there. There shouldn't be any difficulty describing as Dumsor, correct?
Certainly. I mean, whether it is even a natural disaster or whatever, once the lights are out, it's Dumsor. I mean, that one you can't go. Alfred,
that one,
just give me, Alfred, please. The report I was talking about, everybody should go and read, go there and look for the subtitle, National Interconnected Transmission System. National Interconnected Transmission System. And it says that the National Interconnected Transmission System is capable of evacuating all the power that is projected to be generated from all enclaves. At the end of 2019, the total circuit length was 6,472 with a total transformation capacity of 8959.6 megawatt with some 65 bulk supply points. As of now, the Abuazi enclave is the biggest generation enclave, having an installed capacity of 1,504 megawatt. Transmission system losses are expected to be higher than the PURC benchmark, since there will be maximum power generation from the west to consume indigenous gases. Loss increase will be driven by the old 161 kV transmission lines in the west, overload of the 330 161 kV auto transformer in Tema, congestion on the 161 kV Kumasi transmission line linking the 330/161 kV infrastructure, and the unavailability of the 40 MV Starcom at Tamale. Another critical constraint that will be experienced is the limitation on the heavily loaded 160 kV Volta Achimota corridor.
Joe,
in order to mitigate this transmission,
it's not even a report, it's a plan. What you're ready to plan?
I mean, these are specifics. These were done by engineers, so they know that this is what's going to happen. So in order to mitigate this transmission, it says in order to mitigate this transmission constraint, there is an urgent need to complete the upgrade of the 161 kV Volta Achimota corridor and to complete the A4BS4 substation at Pokuase on time. To mitigate the constraint in Kumasi, Gridco need to complete the 330 kV Awumasi Kintampo transmission lines to relieve the high loading on. Well, in principle, what I'm trying to say is that this is the core of the challenges. This is actually the core. So for anybody to come on this plan, this was done in 2019, not 2021. This report is 2019. Okay, so clearly, you see, this thing has been forecasted already.
Let me ask you,
now,
what is all those projects just listed? Are they done? Are they? Where are they?
They are working on now. All these projects are now being worked on. All these projects, the Kumasi
2017. You should go in for the 2017 document. The same things are stated there. So you should see to our eyes.
But so for you to come here and be saying this is the MPP, it is the MPP, it's the MPP.
Of course, it's the MPP. It's the super incompetence that has led us to where we are today. I am saying that saying when you go back to the 2017 commission report,
I can pull it up. Yeah.
Okay, I have shown my evidence. Can you show your evidence? I have shown my evidence. Can you show your evidence?
Stop
show me. I have shown you my evidence here right now.
If I were to be you, I will not be even talking about this document.
No, I have shown you my evidence right now. So can you show me your evidence?
No, I am saying that if I were to be you, I will not even be talking about the document, because this document exposes how to.
Oh, so you see,
you guys are. This document shows that you guys don't know what you are about. This document shows that you guys keep on lying to the good people of Ghana. This document exposes how super incompetent your government is, because this is
the 2020 report. No, this is a
This
2020
issue is an
report.
issue that is well known. Why do you
I'm
need to
No, I've
solve
been
it?
asking a simple question. I said, can you pull your 2017 report and show it to us? I have shown you mine. So if you can pull your 2017 report, we can have a cordial.
You should go there. You should go there and pull it. You should pull it.
I'm saying sharing the 2017 one, but I don't think time would allow us to actually go through it.
Let this in next week. Alfred, I am ready and I'm going to meet him next week.
De-Sosoo and Ghanaians, please, like I said, we admit there are challenges ahead. Government, in fact, government has already provided the financial support, and project is ongoing. As of now, we know the Kumasi project, the Owusu project will be completed somewhere by July. That will solve all the southern sector issue. We know that the Achimota Corridor 1, I think the project will begin next month, and that will also ease most part of Accra and the Western Corridor side. And so hopefully by end of December at most. In fact, the energy minister was talking about, I think it's September or so, but hopefully industrial experts believe that by December we should be through with this energy.
Expert have you spoken to about this?
I mean, there's one energy expert in UK. You can, I think you can find the details on the internet.
Okay, great.
And there's civil society in the energy sector too.
Let's table maybe 2017 reports and we can combine it with whatever topic we'll table for next week. But there's a comment here which I want to quickly read out, and I wanted to be saying that I'm so grateful for all those who watched today. We had about 1,200 people watching at the time, which is very great. It goes to the credit of the good work my listeners, my guests are doing in presenting the various positions of their parties on where we are in terms of power rationing, whether it's Dumsor or it's not Dumsor. And we're also grateful for good friends of mine like Johnny Woods, who is joining us again, like Dr. Faustina Quays, former president of Water Association, who was also joined the show and contributed, and all those other ones, John, and all the contributions that came in. So this contribution again from Johnny Wood, he says, whatever projects Joe is claiming to be going on need power to go on, and there is no power. Please explain yourself.
Mr. Owusu, before my closing statement,
Yes.
I'm saying categorically on this program this evening that the
Right.
timeline that my good friend Joe is giving, they will not meet it. So he should stop throwing dust into the eyes of the listeners this afternoon.
Okay.
I'm also saying that if I were to be him, I'll not even bring this Energy Commission report over here, because the report exposes us by incompetent entities, how inept they are, that they don't know and they don't know how to manage the power industry. This problem was anticipated as far back as 2016, 2017. So we agree. I want him to come. He should not run away from me. I want to meet him next week. We'll go to the 2017 report, and those things will be stated in there. So I am saying that they did propaganda. They were playing cheap. They were playing cheap politics. Instead of them focusing and resolving and building, how can you tell me, for heaven's sake, that you've increased your generation and you have forgotten about the transmission line? And
have you forgotten NDC is the only party that can build a factory without thinking about the raw material for the factory? That's the same thing you do.
I think this is very difficult. That's enough factory over there. Okay.
No, Mr. Owusu. Let me finish. Before I wrap up, let Joe understand that they should even thank Ghanaians for allowing them to mess up the system without not fighting them. Because you know why? When you spoke about the electrification project, okay? When this super incompetent government took over, they've expanded with only 2 point something point, not more than 3%. Not more than 3%. If they have gone about 5%.
You see, you are being dishonest.
It looks like there is a lot more that we need to actually come and address next week.
My last comment.
submissions, and then we can bring the program to an end. So if you have anything you wanted to say, wrap it up in your final statement. And let's start with you, Joe, since you're on with your final.
Johnny Wood was asking me for clarification. In fact, that's why I said, if you, I hope people can just download the report. Based on the above, look at the recommendation. Based on the above conclusion, the following recommendations are made. Ongoing transmission expansion project should be expedited and completed in 2020. That is what they were saying. This is ongoing project, and the project that they listed are Volta Achimota Malam transmission line upgrade project. This is going on. Abuazi Pristia Kumasi 330 kV transmission line project. This is going on. Kumasi Bolegatanga 330 kV transmission line project going on. Installation of a third 330 kV 160 kV auto transformer at Volta substation to be expedited. This one is going. That's what they are saying. It needs to be expedited. Okay. And there are 1,000. You can list all of them. Upgrade of 161K Abuaze Takrade Takwa Pristia. Or you can. There's so many of them going on. And government, you see, government provided the financial support now, and all these projects are going on. So we can do the politics about it. We can talk, but I know because by end of December, there is not going to be Dumsor in Ghana. And if there's anybody to blame, it is the NDC, because when they were doing all this expansion, when they were doing this expansion without thinking about cost, if they had been prudent, they would have even factored in some of these transmission issues. Okay, and they didn't, because they are fond of building factories without thinking about raw materials. And that, I'm sure the same approach they used for this kind of.
We can't hear you, Alfred.
Thank you.
Yeah, but I'm saying you've been in government for 4 years, so again, I mean, these things we'll table and talk about. Can you hear me?
But it's also important that building transmission lines is not as he's making it sound like. I mean, we are talking about power. These are not transformers. We are not talking about transformers.
Transmission line. Did you say you built some within the 4 years, but it's not enough, or you didn't build any at all, and you are not?
Remember the new transmission lines we are talking about. They are different. They are not like the old They are building a new system, a complete new system. So you see, you have to transmit. You have to. It comes with a new lines from one end to another. It's a complete system, and it takes time. It's not like a transformer, putting a transformer somewhere.
Okay.
Please.
No problem. Okay, Paul. Let's hear from you.
He spoke for 3 minutes without me not talking, so I expect him to keep quiet and listen to me.
Yeah,
my closing remark. He once again contradicted himself when he was making his closing remark, quoting the Energy Commission report 2020, saying that the recommendation stated that by 2020 they should have completed with all this project. Which year are we in? Are we in 2020 or we are in 2021? You see how super incompetent this government is?
Right.
And that is why I'm saying that if I were to be Joe, I'll not even bring this document to come and defend myself, because this document further exposes them. Number one. Number two, Joe is saying that there is financial issue. That is why there's a delay. And I am telling him on this show that the Compact 2 deal, the $300 million that was supposed to be given to us to expand the power sector, was not given to us because of the corruption that has eaten his government.
Right.
Both the president himself, they are all corrupt. They performed a corrupt deal in the previous deal. That is why they canceled the deal, and the U.S. government refused to give them the $300 million to expand the existing transmission line.
Right.
Let my good friend Joe understand that building a transmission line, I'm not saying it's something easy, but I am putting on record this evening that building a generation capacity line as compared to the transmission line is easier to the generation. So if it has taken 3 years to build generation capacity for us to have 5,000 megawatt of capacity sitting down, you to come just to continue to increase and build new lines to support the power generation and you could not do it, it tells you that you are super incompetent. You don't know what you are doing. You don't have the men, and you keep lying to the good people of Ghana. So I am ending my statement this afternoon to say that the promise that my good friend is giving, that by July, September, December, Alfred, please keep this record, keep this tape. We will come. I want you to play this tape back to him. They will not meet it. Why would they not meet it? Because if you look at the budget statement they presented to Parliament, okay, look at the figures over there. It's to tell you that we are under budget. We need to sustain the budget, and the money is not even there. That is why they are going around to go and borrow another 3 billion to invest in the economy. And I'm telling them, the
3 billion is just restructuring the debts we currently have. They were going to use that to kind of retire
exactly.
Debt. So that would
will live on to next year, somewhere next year, before they will be able to solve this issue. So next week, I want Joe to come. We'll go back to the 2017 report. Let's see what is in that report.
Right.
There is a recommendation. There is a plan, a plan that was handed over to them to improve upon the transmission line, which they did not do because they are super incompetent. They don't have the men to do it.
Right. Okay. So I was saying that we are definitely going to revisit this topic. I know there is a lot of interest there. Things left on the table that we haven't dealt with. We're not able to compare what was left to the MPP when it came into power. In other words, what was in the 2017 report to what we now have in the 2020 report. We Joe is saying that our works in progress, that when this is out, then that our power problem should be dealt with in one way or the other. I wanted to take this opportunity to thank all those of you who had a time to join us today and contributed to our program. This program is rich and it's what it is because of you, and we so much appreciate that. Please tell a friend to tell a friend that the Ghana Agenda has changed time. We moved from Sunday to now on where we are holding our program on Saturday, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is 6 p.m. in Ghana or GMT. Today we've been blessed to be joined by Paul De-Sosoo again, an IT, what we call an information systems engineer. You can see the engineering principles coming out today when he was talking about generation and transmission, etc., etc. And we're also joined today by Owusu of the NPP to explain to us what projects are ongoing, whether those projects will yield some results by December, and whether we would continue to have Dumsor beyond December. Paul says we'll continue to have Dumsor beyond December, and we'll come back to show where plans that have been left for this current government have not been executed, and that is why we are where we are. That is the Ghana Agenda for today. I wanted to say thanks again for watching. Tell a friend to tell a friend. We'll be back next Saturday. If it is 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, it's Ghana Agenda. I hope you enjoyed today's show. Share. Let your friends also watch it. We'll be back next week. Thanks for watching. Goodbye from our Washington studio.
Hey, this your girl coming all the way from the US of A, yeah baby, aka ya Phantom. And me di feel a buzzing pan and see one virtual the money how Ghana mat ada romantic. What's me sandy provisions as a sutra credit Emma Owusu ya phone and the form one Ghana. And one is a www.ghanamat.com. And them would say boy a sharp connection www.ghanamat.com. Provisions in credit na really I have friend numbers na screen na Ghana Mat ye crown.